Well, I had intended to go to bed tonight at a reasonable hour, but unfortunately, things happen. Like getting in bed to discover a colony of ants has decided to move in to get out of the heat. So let's go ahead and have some updates about the garage lab. So I'm calling it that now. So I'm going to have a seat here and we'll talk. So some things have changed, as you can no doubt probably tell. The 9600 is still up here, still having a go at this for VCF. Kind of deciding what I want to do for an SSD because, well, come over here, and I had intended to use this as the SSD, but unfortunately I think it's too new because it keeps locking up the machine whenever I put it in here. If I use a older SSD like this, it's perfectly fine, no issues whatsoever. So I'm thinking there is an incompatibility with SATA 1 controllers. So it goes. But a change in here is that I've actually got a Sonic card in here now, because the original card that was in here is, well, safely stored away. But I also have the newer Tech G3 that I originally had in here. And that whole trade deal is a big kind of explanation of ROMs and the 9500 not having the proper quote-unquote like fixes for the G3 that are fixed in hardware on the newer tech, but I'll spare you guys the explanation on that. But yeah, that's on the disk. We're still working on it. Found this neat cable while I was clearing out some stuff, and it makes accessing the DB25 Blue SCSI quite a lot easier. So pretty cool that is. Over here we have the battle station, and yeah, this is changed quite a bit. There used to be a G3 iMac here. It is no longer here. The G3 iMac has been replaced with a 27-inch 2011 iMac. And you might be thinking, Exodium, why would you use that? The thing is running on borrowed time. I'm sure it is. I really like this machine, though, from just the way it runs. I mean, it's a 12-year-old machine, does not run like it. I could still load up YouTube and twitch.tv, watch things, and it runs great for a 12-year-old machine. The only thing it doesn't do so well is just being fast, because it's running a hard drive, and I don't personally feel like putting an SSD in it at the moment. That day will come eventually, but as of right now, I'm just sending it on the hard drive that it has, which is a 500 gigabyte Western Digital of some sort, so no real rush to replace it. Over here we have the same old Dell monitor, supports sync on green, very good little retro monitor. We have a couple of new things here, well, not so new, but we have the Wii U controller, which I was using this as a remote for the TV that's sitting behind me, which we'll talk about in a moment, because when I was picking up the TV, I forgot the remote, because I'm great like that. But over here we have a Raspberry Pi 2. That's going to be running Pi-hole, and not for my whole network, thankfully. I'm just using it to block ads on embedded devices that I really have no control over. And then we have this remote, which is for, as you can see here, the ON streaming box, which, again, we'll talk more about that in a moment. But because this is actually here and has IR for the TV, that can actually go back in my room because I don't need it anymore. Over here, we have more fun stuff. Shout out to 1-Bit Fever Dreams for sending me a cool magnet. And I made a fun little balls magnet myself here. Quite like it. But this is just kind of a pile of junk I need to go through and sort out that I just want to get up off the floor, because I was trying to clean this bottom shelf off. That had been a pile I've been waiting to go through forever. So yeah, up here we have a bunch of CD-ROM drives. I think one of them is SCSI. Things I need to go through. We have the PowerMac G3, which is dead at the moment because it needs a new power supply. And we have the Dimension 4100, which is working. I just haven't really been playing much with PCs to really kind of get into it at the moment. But I still keep that machine around so I have a PC to play with. Up here we have a bunch of fun stuff. We have a spare SE shell up there that I need to put into use because the top of my current SE30 is melted. Fun stuff. These are all boxes of various junk I need to go through. I have them all indexed, but I need to kind of consolidate them down and minimize how much I have. We have my old Corsair Graphite 600T up there. I've gotten so much mileage out of that case I don't want to throw it away, so up there it stays. Then another kind of newer thing is the outgoing shelf. That's what I'm calling it because the majority of this stuff is going elsewhere. I don't want it to be here. And the power computing clone is actually a friend of mine's. He bought it locally. He's going to pick it up at VCF West. So, yeah. I was the one who went over, grabbed it, and I'm holding on to it for him. Comes with the keyboard, too. That is a box full of manuals. That's a box full of other junk that needs to go. I know somebody who's interested in manuals, and they want to take it off my hands. So, good stuff. That iBook G4 needs to go somewhere. It's redundant because I've got two of the very same model. 2SI also needs to go because I don't have any desire to have any of those machines. I don't like them. I may catch some flack for saying that, but I'm just not a fan of the 2SI. Personally, just would not care to have them. So, it does need to be recapped, though, so that's the only downside to those. Up there is various stuff I need to go through, but that stuff is not outgoing. Down here we have iMacs, the grape iMac that used to be sitting where the 27-inch is now. That one's probably going to stay out here doing something, I don't know what. Because the Snow iMac is probably going to go back in my room because currently I'm actually loaning an Apple IIgs, and I've been using that to kind of evaluate if I want to get into the 2GS or the Apple II line. And currently I'm kind of mixed on it, but I'm probably going to be handing that back to Garth because I'm not really, well, I say probably handing it back as if he's letting me keep it, which he's not. No, it's strictly on loan. I'm going to be handing it back to him. And probably, at this point, I don't need another expensive hobby. Because Apple II stuff can get fairly expensive from what I've seen. So, yeah, that's going to go back to Garth. And the Snow iMac is probably going to go in its place. To have a bit of a leisure computer to play around with in my room. Because this iMac right here works perfectly fine. No issues whatsoever. The optical drive even works. It's perfect. A little yellowed at the top, but perfect. The bin on top is some more outgoing stuff. My 9600's side panel notwithstanding. That monitor is actually braced perfectly fine against that iMac. Don't worry, it's not getting crushed or anything. That is going to somebody at VCF West as well, I believe. I could be wrong, but yeah. And down here, we've got more fun stuff. This is a box full of power supplies and G3 stuff. I need to put one of those into the G3 at some point. We have the old drawer from my room because I want everything, like, workbench related out here instead of in my room. Because I want my room to be a place to kind of kick back and be leisurely about it, and rather than working on stuff in there. So yeah, all the stuff like my soldering stations, all that, all out here now because I don't want my room to be a workplace anymore. So now we get to where some of the big stuff has happened, and yeah, my clothes are going to be over here because my roommates kind of threw them out of the dryer and said, just throw it with his stuff, screw it. So we have this very nice footrest here, or ottoman, and that goes to a chair that is on the other side of the garage. Eventually I do want to move that over here when I have a little bit of room, but as of right now, this is over here just for some reason or another. We got my laptop underneath that, and that was previously feeding the TV, or feeding video to the TV. And the TV, we have a Vizio 47-inch 2011 era TV. What's interesting about this TV is it was one of the first smart TVs. I believe it's running, the owner told me it was like some Yahoo developed smart TV platform that shockingly was supported all the way up until 2017, which, I mean, we consider 2011 to 2017 to be not that long, but for an early effort like this, considering Android TV at the time didn't get very much support either, I don't know, that to me feels like a really long time for such TV. These days, it is no more better than a dumb TV, and that's perfectly fine, because I'm currently running through it a Google TV, as you saw with the remote earlier, the $20 on streaming box from Walmart, which recently got an update, and by update I mean a hardware update, and it works amazingly well. I've actually piped through some really high bitrate 4K content through it. It did not even stutter. The only thing I've had with it is if I reach behind me and grab the remote, hit the home button, sometimes the UI can be a little sluggish, and of course it's got ads everywhere, but considering I paid $20 for it, I'm not mad about that. I was more mad about this on my Shield TV Pro because I spent $200 on that and we got the ad experience on a $200 streaming box. That I was not happy with. If we go in here, we can see I was watching some good old 68 scribe, or 65 scribe. God, I'm sorry, man, don't come after me. But yeah, I was watching some 65 scribe and just kind of chilling out here while waiting for the laundry to get done. But yeah, pretty cool. Also, we have my SE30 sitting in the corner, if I didn't mention that already, and another Dell monitor sitting over there that needs to go to VCF. Actually, 2 Dell monitors, because there's one under that shirt right there. And something that is sure to get me in trouble with the YouTube Fire Brigade, but unfortunately, that's what I have to do. I do have a really beefy extension cord kind of running out to this power strip, because unfortunately, this garage only has one outlet on a very beefy 20 amp circuit. I am very cognizant of the rated loads on these extension cords and these power strips and on the outlet, and I'm making sure that I'm not even close to them, running it at about 50% of the rated load at maximum. So yeah, I do want to actually see if I could put an outlet somewhere over here to make it a little less janky, but as of right now, this works perfectly fine. I do inspect it all the time just to make sure that everything's holding up great. And so far, so good. It's been all right, and nothing concerning has happened yet. Sucks that I have to do this, but also I'm in a rental, and I have to be careful of what I do because I don't want to get on the bad side of the property managers. So yeah, that's really it for this video. Just talking about random... I mean, it's basically another tour, if you think about it. But there's really not much left to do out here, short of just going through some really old stuff, because I know back there I've got stuff that has not been touched literally since we moved in. So, yeah, that's really it. There's not much left to do. It's all good. I mean, I could give you a very quick peek. See if you can see it. You probably can't. And I can't turn on the flash right now. But yeah, one of the caveats of this TV, before I end the video, was that it didn't have a mount. So I had to go buy one off Amazon for about $20, and it was open box. That's why it was so cheap. Rated for 80 pounds, and this TV weighed in at 50, and it's holding it up perfectly fine. So, plenty happy with that. Yeah, that's it for reals this time. So, if you enjoyed the video, I'll see you guys later, and have a good one.